Welcome back to the Yahn Planetarium and the month of July. We have a few sites to look at this month regarding the planets. So let's get right to it. And we'll start by looking at sunset on the evening of July 4th. So maybe you're outside having a picnic or maybe a campfire. And once it gets dark, we have a few sites that you can see. But as the sun is about to go down, we have a couple of planets that we can start to look for. Now, of course, there is still a lot of light in the sky. As always, we have to watch out for that and be aware of that. But as the sun sets and it starts getting darker, if you don't have any trees or buildings in the way, hopefully you'll be able to spot Venus and Mars as they get very low in the western sky. Now, Venus is typically pretty bright, so I think you'll be able to see that with no problems. Mars, however, can be very dim. So we want to use Venus as our guide, maybe, and have Venus kind of point us in the right direction to where Mars would be. And of course, if you'd like to take a look at those with a small telescope or a good pair of binoculars, that would be great as well. Now, if we move ahead to July 11th, so let me just change that here. On July 11th, look where Mars and Venus are. They're getting very close together. I'm going to back up the clock just a little bit, and we'll zoom in here to see what's going on. So we have Mars and Venus, and nearby we have the moon. It will just be a small crescent moon, and hopefully you'll be able to see that. If we go ahead even one more day, let's see what happens to the moon. Now it's a little higher in the sky than Venus and Mars. But notice the planets and how close together they are. Now we're going to swing around to the eastern sky. I'm also going to change the date. We're going to change our date to July 24th. Once again, we have a couple of planets and the moon getting into the picture here. So if we move ahead to about 10:30 at night, maybe even closer to 11 o'clock where it's a little bit darker, you'll be able to see Saturn, the moon, and Jupiter. Not exactly in a straight line, but in a row, we have Saturn, the moon, and Jupiter. Now, if you are not able to view these the evening of July 24th, and you happen to rise early in the morning on July 25th, let's see what happens. Now I'm going to move the clock way ahead, and then we'll have to shift over towards the western sky. And now you can see the moon has actually slid up to the south in regards to Saturn. And so it's a little more evenly positioned between Jupiter and Saturn. Every night, the moon moves just a little bit faster through the sky than we see our planets doing. All right, let's go backwards here in the night, just so we have some darkness, and we'll go back to about 11 p.m. And in the south, we have a popular constellation that I know I've mentioned before called Scorpius the Scorpion, one of my favorite. So that is definitely in a nice position, the best position of the whole year, really, to see the Scorpion. So look for that bright red star, Antares, that makes the heart of the Scorpion, even though it's closer in his head, as far as this drawing is concerned. But we call that the heart of the Scorpion because of its red color. So we have Scorpius, the Scorpion. Then we have Sagittarius, half man, half horse. He's shooting a bow and arrow. So that's Sagittarius. And if we move over a little more to the east, we have the moon and Saturn and Jupiter not too far away. And that's in another zodiac constellation. And we can see that here. It is the sea goat. This is Capricorn, the sea goat. So he's half fish and half goat. But we have all three of those, Saturn, Moon, and Jupiter, those three objects in this constellation. And again, that's about 11 p.m. on Saturday, July 24th. Now, if you'd like to catch some meteor showers on July 28th, the Delta Aquarids will be peaking, and they peak at about 35 meteors per hour, roughly, give or take, depending on how bright your sky is. And that's about the best we're going to get until August. So we'll talk about August later. So those are the Delta Aquarids peaking on July 28th. For now, that's a tour through our night sky. We hope you enjoyed our visit through the July evening. And thanks again for joining us here at the Yahn Planetarium at Penn State Behrend.